Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at thatcologneguy, coming at you with a new review. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well, my friends. Happy Fragrant Friday. This, of course, is the channel that welcomes you to your weekend, and it welcomes you to a very, very fragrant Friday indeed. Now, usually I actually record a little earlier, so I am just going to make it here actually for a Friday viewing, so I appreciate your patience. It was a little bit of a busy week with a lot going on. So you have seen the title and the description, so you know I am checking out. This is my first review for this house. This is a Swiss house called Gisada, and the fragrance is Titanium for Men. Now you might say to yourself, wait a minute, I noticed the extreme attention to detail. Is that yet again a sample sent in by Jerry over at Luxe Gentlemen's Society? And indeed, you are correct. Good. That's a great eye, because it is another sample sent in by Luxe Gentlemen's Society. And just like last week, I have good news to offer you, which is if you head over to the website to check them out, which is in the description box, you get a whopping 10% off of all your sample purchases if you put in the code TCG10. Jerry did not know this, but if you believe in fate, on the day that he told me about the coupon code, the day he told me about it, I didn't mention this last week, I went over the 10,000 hour mark for That Cologne Guy as a channel. So if you believe in fate, then to celebrate 10,000 hours of viewing pleasure from That Cologne Guy, I have TCG10, which is the 10% off coupon code over at Luxe Gentlemen's Society. So again, for all of your sample needs and the motorcycle going by, make sure you check out that website. And if they don't have a sample, you can always, in the upper right, contact them, because then it's my favorite part of the site. It says you contact the society. So it sounds kind of Matrix-like, and I love the website. So check it out. And this is my first time with this house. Again, it's a Swiss house. This is a 2024 release. And the parfumés are Olaf Larsen and Lukas Swiezak. And that is Sieuzac. You know, I'm going to start off a little bit differently and just say this. I don't know that I've ever reviewed a fragrance that has, I'm going to say, like the theme for this episode is just all over the map. Because if there's one thing that you'd have to say about this one, it really is all over the map, in the sense that I don't know that I've ever seen a fragrance that has so many comments where people will say it smells like, and then they will mention a different fragrance. Many said Le Male, many said Le Male Elixir, many said Le Male Parfum, and then others were not even Le Male related. But as far as the number of different fragrances that this supposedly smells like, and I'm going to even talk about a different one, I have to tip my cap to Gisada in creating at least something that garners a lot of conversation and back and forth. And it smells like this. No, it doesn't. It smells like this. So I really appreciate that about this fragrance. It might actually be number one in terms of the number of fragrances this supposedly smells like. And then the other thing that's all over the map is the longevity. For some people, this was 30 minutes. For some people, this was 10 hours, and then anywhere in between. So again, just like what it smells like, the longevity was just all over the map on this one. So this one was a lot of fun to wear this week. It is quite jocular and indeed whimsical, and I really enjoyed wearing this one this week for nothing else other than at least that it was all over the map. What does it smell like? Now, for me, you're going to get sage in the top. Definitely sage. I get more sage than anything, and a little bit of pink pepper. But this one is definitely for me a sage, lavender, vanilla based fragrance. In the mid, you get lavender and sandalwood, and then in the base, you get vanilla. lavender and sandalwood, and then you get in the base, you get vanilla and iris. Now, don't forget, those are not the only notes. Those are just in my channel. I always just note the ones that I pick up. Go to Fragrantica, and you can check out the rest. For example, tonka beans in this one, I can't say that I really picked that up. Like balsam fir was another one. I can't say that I picked those up. I noted the ones that I can discern. For me, this is more of a sage, lavender, vanilla fragrance. Now, what does it smell like? Okay, so two things I want to say about that. This one to me smells like Le Male, grape pop or soda, and bubblegum, like the traditional, pink bubblegum. So this one is like if you took grape pop and bubblegum mixed, and then you could sprinkle in just a little bit of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male. That's what it smells like. Now, as far as the fragrances, though, I'm going to add another one to what the list of people said. I do think it smells like Le Male, but I would say this. To me, it's like if you took like Le Male, Ultra Male, another flanker, and then also added Mont Blanc Individuel. Okay, so let's get down to the longevity, projection, and sillage. When it comes to this, as I said, for longevity, some people felt like it was 30 minutes, and then some people felt like it lasted all day, 10 hours plus. I'm kind of right down the middle. I felt like it's a 6 to 8 hour on longevity, but definitely closer to 6. If I were to get to the finish line of an 8-hour work shift, I would definitely have to spray a fair amount of this one. And because I'm coming in out of the outdoors, I'd really have to add maybe even another spray or two to get to the 8-hour mark. So I was a little bit surprised. This was closer to 6 for me than it was 8. But you should know that some people would, scoff at that and said, "Are you kidding me? I got 10 hours plus." And then other people would say you were lucky to get 6 to 8. That's what I got. I could barely get to the finish line of an 8-hour work shift on longevity. For projection, you're looking at for the 1 meter 3 feet for the first 4 hours it projects, and then it really gets close to the skin. Now, this does make it a great choice though for like a romantic night out. If you're going to go out for a romantic dinner and then go back for close quarters, this would be perfect because right about the 4-hour mark it really starts to get close to the skin. So it's not one that will bomb out a room, and it's not one that will really project a long time. So that's an advantage for some people and a disadvantage for others. Sillage, though, wasn't that great for me. If I'm going to be coming in and out of rooms, leaving a scent trail, walking past people, I think you would get noticed for the first 3, 4, 5 hours. And then after this, I do worry it might just be a little bit too close to the skin for someone to pick up. Again, that's not a disadvantage for some people because that's, number one, they wear it for themselves only. And number two is, if you are in close quarters, that'll be perfect for you. Then it'll be an enticing fragrance that brings the other person closer to you, which is perfect for a lot of people. So just because it doesn't bomb out a room for 10 hours does not mean that that is a bad thing. I just wanted to point that out. I do feel like this functions more as an EDT than it does as an EDP. I was a little surprised by the EDP Eau de Parfum category. Okay, so that is longevity, projection, and sillage. Now, let's get to the gender. I also was surprised that this was a for men fragrance. This is unequivocally unisex. I mean, I like sweet fragrances anyway, but this one is not only for me was it unisex, I felt like it was I would even say feminine leaning, not too feminine though at all. It is not too feminine for me. But I do want to put that out there because it might be a little bit too feminine for some guys. So if we're going to use the famous TCG continuum here, that's just ultra high tech, we'll say this is unisex, this is masculine, this is feminine. I'm going to say it is in the unisex range, but it does lean feminine for me. Again, though, I want to be very clear that it's not too feminine whatsoever in my book. Just wanted to point that out. A little surprised that it was for men. So in terms of, I have to say for gender, with regard to people, whoever owns this, who wanted it, it's their signature scent. I'm actually going to say, 66-34 split, meaning 66%. I would say 2/3 of all people who own this will be men, and then 1/3 will be women, which is quite high, especially because it is in theory marketed towards men. But I would say this would to me, this would smell wonderful on a woman's skin. I just think it would be great. In fact, when I talked about the rating later, I will add that, because I'm going to talk about how it was for me if I were to own it, and also if I were to give it as a gift to a woman, because I do think it would be great on a woman's skin. So I'm going to say 66-34 on the split there. Now, for seasons, you are looking at something that's different, actually. This one, to me, I feel like it performs really well in the spring. So it's a fall, winter, but you know how a lot of times perfume or fragrance reviewers will talk about fall, winter, and spring, summer. This one is not that one, because this one really is a fall, winter, and definitely spring fragrance. I actually think it shines in the spring, to be honest. That's just my 2 cents. If it's really, really hot outside, I worry that this one might not last enough. But other than that, it really could be easily a 365-day-a-year fragrance. This would be perfect for a gift giving, in that regard as well. Another way it's perfect, that's why it's highly versatile, is I don't think this is just a romantic night out scent. I think this would be okay for the office. I think it's a perfect day scent. It's inoffensive. It smells nice. And the only thing really off-putting possibly would be if you're a guy who doesn't like sweet fragrances, you won't like this one. Everything else, though, really speaks to it being, it's just very, very nice and welcoming. It's not off-putting in any way. So it'd be perfect if you're in sales. You wouldn't have to worry about something being too this or too that. It just has that kind of, it smells nice vibe to it. Kind of a comfortable, cozy, sweet fragrance. This would be another one that would be perfect for like the millennial couples that like to wear the same fragrance on their bed and breakfast weekend getaway. All right, this would be another one perfect for that if you'd like to wear the same fragrance as your partner. Okay, so that is the seasons. And let me just say again, because of all that, you won't be surprised to hear that I find this one incredibly, incredibly versatile. Again, all over the map is kind of the theme of this episode, because there were some people who said you definitely could not wear this one to the office. It's definitely a night fragrance. I just disagree. I think it's perfect fragrance for a lot of people, for a lot of different ways and reasons. Certainly a strength for this fragrance. Now, let's get to the rating. So this one is kind of a typical week for me, in the sense that my first number is the one I stayed with. This one is definitely a 3 out of 5 sprays in my rating system. If you're new to the channel, I have a 5 spray rating system. I do give an elusive 6th bonus spray, TCG bonus spray. It is highly coveted. I've only given out 3, and 2 of them were actually more just emotional favorites, to be quite honest. And this one here is a 3 out of 5 sprays. Now, 1 and 2s, I don't want them in my collection, of course. I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't even say 1 and dones. I'd say scrubbers. And then 4 and 5 would be something that I would want in my collection. 3 is kind of, it depends. Some 3s I wouldn't, and some 3s I would. This is an example of a 3 that I would like in my collection, number 1. And number 2, I have to consider the fact that I would love to buy this for somebody. I mean, it could be a man or a woman, but it's a perfect gift to give if you don't necessarily know, especially for women, I would say, because it is on the sweeter side. If you don't know a ton about their preferences, a lot of women complain that perfumes are too, on the women's side, are way too floral and too this and too that. Honey, certain notes kind of overtake the market. This would be something unique, and it would be different. And so I would definitely consider this as a gift because, again, it's inoffensive. It's the proverbial nice. I just don't know that it has, tons and tons and tons of personality, but that can be great for giving a gift. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I did dock a spray. Let's talk about, I guess, the obvious thing, the elephant in the room. It is called titanium. Now, at least maybe it's because I'm used to like American commercials where, like the commercials for like men are just uber masculine and obvious, and they'll be like Dodge Ram, Ford F-150. I would say, because if you go to their website, right, they do talk quite a bit about it being, rugged, for men, and it shows, titanium, and it's everything silver, of course. And I would have expected something really uber masculine when it comes to the notes. So I am docking a spray because of the name. It's titanium is misleading. In fact, let me just read directly from their website where they talk about the description. So this is from their website, Gisada. It says titanium. Success has a scent. Titanium by Gisada, Switzerland is the fragrance for the modern man. Distinctive notes of wood and amber embody the confidence and ambition of a man who sets his own path. Claim your place at the forefront. You see what I mean? It just kind of you would expect something different from titanium. To me, the description and the name just exudes this kind of alpha male, uber masculine scent that you just actually don't get. It's a scent that I like. I just don't think it reflects the name. So the scent is fine. So leave the scent, but change the name. So I docked a spray for that. And then I also docked a spray really for 3 different things. And so that way, if you disagree with 2 of them, I'm still okay, right? Because I'm going to mention 3. Number 1 is I do feel like it functions more like an EDT than an EDP. I concede the fact that it's all over the map in terms of longevity for people, but for me, this was more of an EDT than an EDP. I'm not going to use the word disappointment, but I was a little surprised that it was an EDP. So, and then the second thing would be, I do feel like it does lack a little oomph to it, a little personality. And then a related topic, the third one is, if we're going to say that, and if we're going to say it smells like a lot of other fragrances, I was a little bit surprised that it actually costs more than those fragrances. So this retails at $139 USD for a 3.4 ounce, 100 milliliter, and I was a little surprised by that because, quite honestly, I would say that, for the price, I would probably just choose one of the Le Male fragrances over this one in that regard, and just in terms of price. So I was a little bit surprised by the price tag. So for those 3 points, maybe slight lack of personality, oomph, the fact that it's more of an EDT for me, and the fact that it costs more than the other fragrances that it's compared to, I docked a spray. So I gave it 3 out of 5 sprays for Titanium by Gisada. So I'm going to go, for 3 out of 5, I'm going to go 3 sprays, 1 on each side of the neck, and then 1 right in the numbers. And this is an honor. This episode there's a reason behind the Bears jersey, because this week, of course, you may know that George Wendt passed away, who is famously known as Norm on the 80s show Cheers, but also in Bears Nation, he's affectionately known as one of the super fans on Saturday Night Live. So, George, this is in honor of you. R.I.P., my friend. And the spray. 3 out of 5 sprays for this jocular, whimsical fragrance that is just, you guessed it, all over the map. Really, really a lot of fun. This has been a fun fragrance, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. What are your thoughts on titanium? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts, and if nothing else, always remember to let me know your scent of the day or your sense of the week. I really enjoy going through all of your comments. I respond to each and every one throughout the week, and it's just so much fun to chat about the fragrance itself and also about the fragrances that you are rocking on the day that you watch this episode. Hope you're doing well. I appreciate you sticking around till the end. And always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody.